Here we are, Nottingham again in the same studio. I'm blocking the view to the mixing desk, but trust me, it's there. Okay? And the reason I'm here, camera's not showing it, but old man business here. Knees on the floor, cushion, so for comfort and everything. Look, look, look. Cameraman's doing his tricks. Again, just pulling out random people who are no MC or DJ and trying to get a little bit of information about them. So here we are again. Do you want to introduce yourselves?
Yo, people, what's good? I'm Loco of the Local Healers here on the 521, and I'm here with my guy Healy too, Nottingham. That's where we're at. We come to spread love and give them hip hop vibes. It's what we do. It's what we've been doing for a good while now. Me and my boy Ty been working together, Local Healers, for the past 4 or 5 years. As I say, plenty of shows in and around the city, as well as around the country as well. So yeah, could be coming to a city near you soon.
And yeah, he did the perfect introduction there, Blade, so I don't need to say too much. But yeah, I am Ty Healy, Tyrone the Healer. We're representing for the Local Healers and with the friggin' legend right here, Mr. Blade, 521. Thank you so much for having us, my G.
What would you tell people to make them go and check you out and find out more about what you do? Just define yourselves.
Well, to keep it real, man, this is the 50th anniversary of this hip hop shit, and I very much believe me and this brother Loco right here, we are hip hop's children, you know what I mean? And when I say that, I say, you know, we're kind of like younger dudes here, but like I say, the fact that we're around legends such as you, such as DJ Fever, like all the people out there, this is Nottingham. And like the reason I would say check us out is because we hold it down, man. I know there's a lot of people who aren't too happy with the current climate of hip hop, you know what I mean? It's changed very much so, but we are definitely holding it down, and we're basically trying to be the children of it, that respect for where it come from Cool Herc to where we are today, do you know what I mean? So yeah, if you're into that real hip hop shit, from some younger perspectives who keep the tradition going, that's where you find me and this guy.
Where you said that, you know, people aren't really happy with, you know, with what's going on and everything. Explain that, because, you know, there's so many different perspectives to it, and I support the youngsters.
Absolutely same.
But not all of them, obviously, because not all of them are good.
Well, this is the thing, and it's like, you know, people don't want to say it, but it's like that's just the truth of it. You know, evolution is what it is, and it's like we know that like this thing has become monetized from a long time ago. Do you know what I'm saying? And there is people in the game who pretty much look at it like another hustle, like another flip. So what I'm saying from our perspective is kind of like we know that it's like this hip hop shit is deep rooted. Do you know what I mean? It's like it comes from a long lineage, and it's like, and it's art at the end of the day. And it's like that's something that when I first met Nate, I was like, yo, what's your output? Like, what do you want out of this thing? Because for me, I'm into like high art, man. That's the kind of shit I grew up on. That's the kind of shit my mum was listening to. You know, shout out to Mumsy. She was born in '75, so she's very much a hip hop child herself. Yeah. And I'm born in 1990, so I do feel like I am the '90s kid, and I will say that proudly. So when I say that, long story short, it's just kind of like we just want to hold it down, and we just want to make a point that, you know, don't feel like everyone who came later doesn't respect the art, because we know you guys respected the art from when, you know, it came before you guys, from the 50s and 60s and what you sampled and shit. So it's like we're definitely like continuing that lineage. So, you know, that's kind of what I meant in context, you know?
You basically get what hip hop is, but do you think that the message of hip hop has kind of been lost over the years? And do you think if it has been lost, it was lost on purpose to benefit others?
Well, I mean, that's a real interesting question, that is. I mean, you can look at that from so many angles, and I think that some people will look at it as positive sometimes when you see these changes, you know what I mean? Because I think through the years, you've probably seen so many changes in ways, you know what I mean? If you go back to, you know, the 80s, what we was hearing come out then, in comparison to now. But even nowadays, you can still find what it is that we want to find. You know what I mean? So
we have to research it.
That's what I mean. I think there's still something out there for everyone. You know what I mean? So again, it's you can't just be lazy and just say, yeah, I don't like, you know, any of the stuff that's out now, kind of thing. You've got to do your research. You've got to dig sometimes just to find what it is that you want. So, you know, sometimes you have to go a bit further afield to find a kind of art form that you might be looking for.
But it is there, though. That's kind of the point.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's there. It's not been taken away. So yeah, I mean, it's still there. But I mean, people are doing a lot of other things as well, additionally to that. So, you know, it's been added to. So there's a lot more going on now, I think. Yeah.
The kids today, when they're making their music, their priority is to make good music or to make money.
Again, I think you've got lanes. I think you've got different lanes to that. So, I mean, there is people that will fit into that category of they're there to make the money. And, you know, they have the label and they make the kind of factory music and it works for them and they make the money because the consumers are the same people and it gets pushed out in the same way. But as I'm sure you probably know, that's not the type of music that we make or that we're into either. We want to make stuff that's going to last the test of time, and we're going to be proud to show our kids in years to come. So, you know, there's a difference, and it's not to say that, you know, it's bad that anyone that does that, because there's the market for it. There's the consumers there for it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, there's the consumers that want something completely different to that. So it's just important that that's there for them as well.
I feel like the consumers have been manufactured. I feel like if the kind of hip hop that we consider as real hip hop, and don't get me wrong, like hip hop is evolved and everything, and there's different lanes, like you said. But I feel like the kind of hip hop that we were listening to from early, if that was pushed and constantly pushed, then I believe that we wouldn't have to have the kind of
Like a
hip hop.
different lane.
Do you understand? So my question is basically, why were all these other lanes created by the industry, not the kids, the industry? Yeah. And just basically that's the agenda that they pushed, and what's the reason for that?
Can I be real? I feel like, you know, if we go back, I feel like what's happening is, you know, there was a message in that. You
And they were scared of the message.
And they were scared of the message, but you know, how do you quash revolution, right? But you know what's so crazy though? It's like, and this is why I always bring it back to art, because what I will say is, because we're talking about essentially the mainstream, aren't we? Do you know what I mean? And it's like, what's kind of happened is, you know, what we consider quote unquote real hip hop was mainstream at a point. And it was almost like someone came in and went, oh, hang on, they're getting a bit clever here. Let's just water this down real quick, right? But for me, it's like I say, I bring up art because it feels like what we have now in the current climate is a renaissance. Because, so you might have, you know, whoever on the top of the pop charts and whatever. But if you really, you don't have to look too far to find a record label like Griselda who are like shifting between both, who are actually got a mainstream look but are still keeping it to kind of like how we kind of rock.
But that just goes to show you that the audience is there,
It's there, right?
if you know how to find them.
Absolutely, and that's why I look to someone like yourself, bro, because it's like, you know, we all know the story, we all know the legends of you, you know, going around tape cassettes, CDs before it was even a thing, the industry, independent thing, things like that has inspired us so long. You know, we're not signed to a record label, but we release music. Like we've released 6 projects this year alone, because it's about feeding. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, not to like start sucking our dicks and shit, but we really do this shit. You know what I mean? Like we really are them guys. Like,
So,
you know what I mean?
explain to me when you say we really do this shit.
Yeah.
Like, because there's a lot of people that don't understand like what being an artist is, and I always try and like address these kind of things to make people understand that being a human being and being an artist is two different things.
Two different things, and you know,
and normal human beings that live normal day-to-day lives,
well, they almost can't.
They don't
right?
get what we're on.
Well, bro, you know, it's so funny, you know, because it's like this is a constant battle like we kind of have every other day. It's kind of like it's that whole. You still doing? You know, when someone plays you that one, you still doing your music? You know, it's like it's a slap in the face.
I remember when, and I'm gonna say it, a family member, my sister-in-law, right? I remember, like, for years, I was trying to say to them, one day I'm going to make it. One day I'm going to make it. And this just carried on. And there was always that doubt. There was always that, he just, like, you know what I mean? Whatever. And we have to live with that, with family members, with everybody, with friends, you know, and hardly anyone ever believes in you. So you've got to have that belief, right?
I would argue the people closest to you can't see it, right? You know what I'm saying? So
So now let me flip this story a little bit. So I done myself a little demo, right? And I was trying to memorize the lyrics, because I wanted to perfect it before I put the vocals down properly. And I went off to her house to look after my children, so my child and her children.
Okay.
While they're out in the garden playing, I'm in the living room and I've put the cassette in the stereo system and it's playing. And I'm there listening and everything, and she walks in and she's going, "Oh my God, they're playing you on the radio!" Right? And then obviously I ejected the tape.
Like,
but for that split second, she's like, "Oh my God, you made it!"
Yeah. So it's almost like a third party needs to endorse it before someone can even. And it's crazy as well. But it is almost a sheepish mentality. It's like, and it's the same thing with the kids today. It's like it's all about the views. It's like if someone else says it's good, then I'll check it out. It's that kind of thing. And it's
So
like,
how do we deal with that?
do you know how we deal with it? Where we work harder.
But I know people that have worked ridiculously hard and they ain't got no bones left, bro, in their fingers.
Because they're exhausted, right? Yeah, but I feel like it's like, and this is where I don't shun the youngers of today, because what they have figured out is this marketing thing. They focus on it more. So what we do, where we've got the experience, then we've got to be able to finesse both, surely. Because if we have the art side and we've got that unlocked, it makes sense that we match it with the same amount of energy to put into figuring out. Because if you do that, it's unfuckwithable. How could you fuck with it if it's like, no, I know how to play your games. I know how to do the this is what you're doing right now, right? Like if you know how to do this shit and you've got the art side, no, fuck with you, man. And it's like, and the only way that's gonna happen is we have to kick down the door, just like they did back in '81. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's the same shit. So
what's your view?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think, you know, there's a few ways that you can look at it. I mean, And I think there's many different opinions again that kind of that come into it. But a lot of the time, I mean, what I like to take it back to is what is people's purpose? You know, what have people come into this for? And at the same time, from a consumer side, again, what have you come into it for? Because again, in that way, there's so many different lanes and things you have to kind of consider in the way of who is that person creating music for? Because in that way, it might not be something that, you know, it's relevant to us or has any benefit to us, but to other people, it's something that, you know, can be life changing for them. And again, at the same time, you know, I like to listen to a lot of like conscious rap, like Nas and that kind of stuff. When I had the you know, the Life Is Good album, that kind of at that point in my life kind of like changed a lot of my thinking and the way that my life was. And I can, when I think of that music, it takes me back to certain times. So, you know, I think certain people's journey is different. You see what I mean? So it's a different perspective for everyone as well, I think. Yeah, interesting, that one.
Say you've now become part of the machinery, you're working at a record label.
Yeah.
Would you do things different to what's being done today? Or would you just be after like, yo, I need to keep my job and I need to just do whatever the record label tells me I need to do?
I mean, I really like to say that, you know, I would do what I think's right and again, what I've got into it for.
Even if it means you get fired?
To a certain extent, then yes. Because I guess, you know, the first way I was looking at this when you asked me that question was I was thinking back to my job, you know what I mean, and I work in childcare, so in certain ways you got to think differently, you know what I mean, but when there's something like that, just a creative art form that we're passionate with, and we can kind of have opinion to sway the opinions of other people, I think it is important that sometimes you have those leaders. So yeah, I wanna put my hand up and say I would be one of those leaders, you know what I mean? That's why we are the local healers. We're here to heal and promote and give that good energy, you know what I mean? That's who we are, man.
It's a funny thing because it's essentially a what if conversation, right?
Bro, if it's a funny thing, why are we not laughing?
Well, we're not laughing because ultimately, bro, this is our lives. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, you know for a fact, I don't need to lecture you about it, but we know for a fact the financial stability side mixed to the output of energy we're putting into it, it's not balanced, right? And it's like, and like you're saying with the record label thing, I guess I could say, oh, what I would do, but at the end of the day, my point is we gotta get there. Let's have that conversation when we're sat there. So let's have this conversation, Blade, when it's like, yo, Ty, all that shit you were talking in that hot studio when you were sweating and shit, but you've actually grafted enough to be in that position. Now what are you gonna do with it? Because I don't really deal with ifs, muts, or maybes. I deal with hard work. You see what I'm saying? And it's like,
what's the hard work got you so far?
Well, hard work got me. I'm talking to you right here, and that's a personal goal of mine. Do you know what I'm saying? So, you know, to anyone who's a hip hop fan will know what this guy means to the culture. But even more to that, like currently, like, you know, I live off this music shit. Do you know what I mean? I do enough. Like, I teach kids from areas who, you know, I'm talking like really like white areas that kids who have no business rapping. Do you see what I'm saying? But because of my confidence and my demeanor, what I can do is I can show them the fundamentals of it, and it becomes confidence building. So it's not really about teaching them to be MCs, but it's about going, this is what it did for me as a young kid who was kind of trying to find out who I was. It brought me into my comfort zone. There's not much in my dialect. You see what I'm saying? And that's because of this hip hop shit. So in a really roundabout way, I can actually do that for kids who will never rap, but because they listen to me and they're inspired, they're like, oh shit, like maybe I can. You know what I mean? So to this point, I would say I'm a relatively successful artist along with my brother Nay, and it's like, and again, I'm not really dwelling on what I've done so far. It's about where it's gonna go. You feel me? So
if you had to sell yourself to anybody out there who doesn't have a clue who you are, right? What would you say to get them to go and check you out?
I'd probably have to drop a verse, would I not?
Drop a verse then.
I sit alone in my four-corner room staring at candles and write raps cause I'm fire on wax, and the fact it distracts from the pressure that's too hard to handle. Sand granules keep falling from the bottomless hourglass, infinitely going from 0 to 60. I stay positive, yeah, I'm smiling daily, but when I dream at night, I dream about my teeth breaking. Different meanings when I bring it up in conversation. Some say vanity, others a metaphor for changing. I say I'm fine, we can lie through our teeth, but the soul is behind the window of our eyes, and I don't want these pearly whites shining down from the pearly gates at an early date cause I bottled up what to say. I spit it out like kiwi seeds, and for those who couldn't, rest in peace. But the green and blue barbel is looking half broken, but as a black man I felt this feeling all over. You remember them simpler days before we sulk broken? The only threatening new world order was Hulk Hogan. Well, today will one day be back in the day. For the youths, they shouldn't have to feel yesterday's pain. Now looking back, I bet my mum was going through that hell, but she made sure that me and my brother couldn't tell. I'm black British, yeah, the Windrush descendant. I didn't know my grandpa, but must represent him. Now witness the fitness I maneuver maneuver like roots. Kuta Kinte within me, don't wear Toby's boots. I'm a runaway who felt like an outcast anyway. An introverted extrovert who mess with words to bless a verse. Stay safe, self-care, repair, because the damage isn't permanent as long as you're aware. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's my guy Ty. You know what? I was gonna spit something, but I think you said it all, man. You said it all. You know what I mean? We wanted to tell them what we're about, and that's what we're about. We're the local healers. You know what I mean? And like you said, we just we released Guala Gualas came out just last Friday. So go run that up. You know what I mean? Yeah. One of many releases. As I say, we released with Panda earlier this year. Ty released again with Panda earlier this year, and I got something coming as well. So really just watch out for that, man. And we're about to just celebrate this 50 years of hip hop tonight.
Obviously, we've only just met, right? And I didn't know what to expect. I had no idea what to expect. But I love the confidence when you're talking, but then I love the confidence when you're rhyming even more. That shows that regardless of whether you're making money or not, it's irrelevant. It's like the art is there, and the money comes as a bonus if it happens. And obviously, like guys like you, at the level that I just heard, you deserve to be making money. And I feel like it's up to us to kind of educate the audience, the listeners, to make them understand that to some people, this is just business. Absolutely. There is no passion, there is no love. Some people kill themselves for making music, and some people basically sit back and watch artists get killed for the music. Exactly. I'm sorry, man, I'm gonna have to ask you to do another one. I'm gonna have to ask you to do another one, because that confidence, man, I loved it.
Ty, going for him. You're representing local healers today.
Dave gave politics the biz at the Brit Awards. Big applause, rapper hater up in the figure 4. NWA, world heavyweight. I'm a rare mix of Ric Flair and Dr. Dre back in 88. I don't like Parliament unless we're talking Funkadelic. George Clinton, no Bush, no Bill or Hill, but the UK as a EU leaver. Now I need a visa to perform for a swarm of the fans up in France, or the girls and the mans that wave the hands at the Tower of Pisa. No tours, wow, now Tories, thanks. But how they even in a party when they can't dance? Quick wit, slick shit, swiftest, you missed it. Dump it, dunk it like tea for your biscuit. Do I keep it surface or deep with a purpose? I'm not a caller, but a few things have surfaced. Cause moving like sheep shouldn't be a surprise. The sheer disrespect to pull the wool over your eyes. I see it in the past, and I tell you I can't lie. Freestyle for Blade Brown, cause that's how we put it down. Nottingham, this the town. I'm saying it now. 50 years of hip hop, the local healers are proud to be the child, the hip hop, the savior, the youngers, and that's why we do this, to feed all the hunger. Switched it into a freestyle.
That's wicked. Except you said Blade Brown.
He's Blade and I'm Brown, so that's the compromise.
There you go. No, it's all good. It's all good. So, is there anything that you want to promote?
As I said, obviously, you know, we did the Guala Gualas release last week, so at the moment, that's kind of looking big, you know what I mean? Doing some decent numbers at the moment. That one was produced by our man Jack Wolf, shout out Jack Wolf. And you know what?
You know what? Local Healers, the name is pretty easy. It's Googleable as fuck, right? So, so if you just search that, you know, because at the end of the day, we could plug everything and let's let the music talk. Just search Local Healers, you'll find him. Nay Loco, Ty Healy, it's not hard to find. So, I'm pretty sure when you post this, people will be like, well, Blade vouchers, so that might be enough to even get the ball rolling, so, you know.
And all of what you heard, that's on Guala Gualas, that's on the album, you know what I mean? So if you want to hear my verses as well, keep the album.
What does this mean to you, like 50 years of hip-hop? Like, if you were to sum it up just really quickly.
Well, I mean, it's, saying respect and a big thank you to the, the foundations and the originators of it. And we was just talking about it earlier, actually, saying, it's not just the music as well, it's a whole culture, you know what I mean? So down to the dress, down to the dance, down to all of that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? So it's all in there, man, and we've been a part of it as well, all our lives. And it's good to see when we come here that you got people of different ages, from younger than we are to much older than we are, all here to enjoy it, you know what I mean? And it's familiar to everyone as well, so yeah, man.
How do you feel about the people that don't really understand what hip-hop is, and they're jumping on this 50-year thing, and some of them are promoting events that they don't understand what they're actually promoting, and the people, the consumers don't understand really the depth of what this is, that because hip-hop isn't just music.
It's not.
It's life.
It's life. Like we were saying earlier, man, not to belabor the point, but it's like, clearly there's a cost of living crisis, do you know what I mean? I feel like people are looking at anything that's a buzzword currently, and it's like, let me see if I can cash in on it, do you know what I mean? So as far as like promoters who don't really give two shits about this rap shit, and they also want to make profits, do you see what I'm saying? So it's like, my thing is this, it's like, that's going to happen regardless. This is capitalism, bro. You know, that's going to happen whether we like it or not. So all I can say is what we've got to do is from some grassroots level to the top, we've just got to outwork it because people will come find the real. I firmly believe that the cream rises in this thing. Do you know what I mean? So in that sense, it's like, let them, because, you know, we've seen this how many times in hip hop. We've seen people come in, even become considered the best at it, but then they fuck off in 2 minutes. But the people who are really putting in the foundation work, such as yourself, like, you're still here, and just, I'm saying, that's all that matters to them, in my opinion. So I'm saying, fuck them, let them try it. But, you know, the people who are really about this shit will know where it's at.
I think that's a great place to leave it.
Yo,
okay,
peace.
So obviously make sure you go and check out local healers. I'm going to put all the links and everything in the description below, so go check them out. Like, I've just been blown away, seriously, right? And I'm eager to hear, if he's saying what he's saying, I'm eager to hear what you have to offer. All right, so everybody, thank you very much for watching. Go check them out. Peace.
Peace and love.
Peace.